Okay, it looks like we just got started here. Welcome to week 2, live lecture 1. I appreciate you guys being flexible with your schedules. This week I kind of experienced some last minute rescheduling issues, so I had to bump this up a little sooner than I wanted to, that we had scheduled, but I appreciate you guys being flexible with that and working with me, because sometimes, it's a week-to-week basis for sure on my end. So, all right. So hopefully you guys are starting to get more comfortable with Photoshop and the tools, the selection tools from week 1. It seems like a lot of you guys did really well on creating the wallpapers and kind of playing around with all of these selection tools and layer adjustments, which is great. That's one of the main tools in Photoshop. So just to kind of get a good handle on that is excellent. And we'll be using those going forward as well. So we'll kind of be building upon that as we go through each week. Okay, so let me go forward here in my lecture. If you have any questions, you're experiencing anything that you're not sure about, let me know. I'm here to help you guys. So that's, I want you guys to all succeed in this class. So don't feel like you're bugging me in any way. Go ahead and reach out to me. I'm here for you guys. So this is, if you have any questions or concerns, we're actually going to be meeting tomorrow evening for the multi-session. I'm sorry, tomorrow morning. I think I scheduled that in the morning. I might have to shift that though. So kind of keep a lookout for that. I might have to shift that to the evening, possibly. I'll have to take a look. All right, so anyway, if you have any questions, concerns, let me know. I'm here to help you guys. Like I said, I want you guys to succeed and really kind of learn a lot in this class going forward. All right, don't forget your discussion 2 post is due before midnight tonight, so make sure you're getting that in. Let's go ahead and take a look at that actually right now. So that we can read over it, make sure we're all on the same page. And in your week 2 folder here, if you click on week 2, you'll see the learning objectives listed. So utilize 4 retouching tools in the process of retouching and restoring a photograph, implement 4 Photoshop's adjustment layers, and then discuss appropriate techniques for creating and recreating raster images in Photoshop. So that's kind of the gist of what we're going to be coming out with this week in terms of what you're going to learn and what you should learn. For the discussion, go ahead and read through the beginning part of the background here. It talks about the different types of tools available to you guys in regards to, and we looked at this a little bit. You have the paintbrush tool, the shapes tool, gradient tool, and paint bucket tool. Kind of goes into detail there. I'm going to go to the prompt here. It says, find an example of a raster-based design that was made in Photoshop. It can be a digital illustration, a wallpaper design, an advertisement, or a photo composite. Pinterest.com, thedesigninspiration.com, and cgsociety.org are all great places to go looking for designs made in Photoshop. Then research techniques that designers use in Photoshop to achieve undetectable edits to create or enhance a recreation of an image, excuse me. So you're going to embed or share the link to the example you found. You're going to analyze the image and discuss what the tools you think were used in the creation of the image. And then based on the research on those tools to create or recreate an image, what techniques do you think the designer used and why? You probably won't know this unless it's within an article that you found, but just kind of take your best guess of how they could have done this. For your citation, you might use articles that discuss Photoshop tools or Photoshop techniques and how to best use them. You can also find articles from experts that suggest what makes Photoshop projects effective or ineffective. And your initial and reply post should work to develop a group understanding of this topic. You guys should be challenging each other, build on each other, and be respectful, but discuss this and figure it out together. If you're unsure of how to upload and embed images, this is a great resource here that you can check out in uploading files. There's an actual example of an APA formatted discussion post, so you have no, reason why it should not be formatted in APA. Here's samples that you could take a look at for this specific discussion. So if you're really kind of, I don't know what I'm going to do, check out these 2 examples, and that should help you guys with that. So it's good to kind of know, what's out there, you can kind of maybe visually see what the designer did in these examples. It's always good to kind of pick these apart so that we understand, oh, that this is probably how it was made. And maybe that's something that inspires you to experiment something similar in that retrospect of the design that you're looking at. Okay, so that is the discussion 2. Let me know if you have any questions about that. It's pretty straightforward, but make sure you get that posted by midnight tonight for possible full credit, and then respond to at least 2 different peer posts before Saturday by midnight Mountain Standard Time. Okay, we're going to dive right into assignment 2 here. Just because a lot of this is demo, we have a lot to cover. We're going to go over assignment 2, and then I'm going to go over assessment 2. So let's take a look at that right now, and then I'll go right into my demo. All right, so basically what we're going to be doing is we're going to be doing some really cool things in this assignment. We're going to be doing some photo retouching. So this is photo retouching and restoration. You're going to utilize 4 retouching tools in the process of retouching and restoring a photograph. So photo retouching and restoration, you can kind of read through this. The background talks about different types of brushes, different types of tools, I should say, that designers use. So the spot healing brush, the clone stamp tool, and content aware. I'll be going over that as well. Go ahead and read through that. Techniques, soft light, adjustment layers, so that you're not taking away from the actual photograph. It's non-destructive ways to do that. I'm going to read through this prompt. So read all through that before you get to this part. For this assignment, you will choose 2 of the available 4 images. So you have to do 2 of the 4 in your choice to retouch or restore using a minimum of 4 tools to complete the task. Ensure that all your changes are made on separate layers, and be sure to make your adjustments natural looking. Be sure to make your adjustments a natural looking improvement to the original picture. In other words, make it look like the photo was never damaged to begin with. So these are your 4 photos here you can download. We can take a look at that in a second. Use adjustment layers to adjust the exposure and or colors of the photos. Use spot healing brush to remove any blemishes. Use clone stamp to remove blemishes that cannot be removed with spot healing. Utilize at least 1 other tool or adjustment of your choosing to complete the restoration. Do not crop or distort the image. And then once you're done, you're going to save it as such, and then PSD file. And then you're going to save it as, so you're going to have the before, which will be 2A, before you do any changes to it. And then you're going to do the after. So 2B would be the after. And then you're going to do a file save as and choose JPEG with 100% quality for both and submit the JPEGs for grading. Do not flatten your layers in the PSD file, and retain in case the instructor needs you to work on the layers. So this is kind of an important part just to pay attention to, okay? So make sure you're doing that and paying attention to those specs. All right, so we will be looking at the spot healing brush tool, a very easy to use tool that automatically covers an imperfection using the surrounded pixel data. Like all retouching tools, it is recommended that you apply it to a new blank layer rather than the original image, so that you can easily erase it if you make a mistake and not destroy the original media. This is possible with sample all layers selected at the bottom of the screen. Clients almost always want images used for advertisements to be retouched. Clone stamp tool allows you to clone, copy, and paint pixel data, a very effective tool for covering up imperfections in an image. You will need to click the Alt option and select part of the image prior to using it, like the spot healing. It is recommended that you apply it to a new layer rather than the original. Content aware is an option feature on many tools that predict what part of the image the designer wants to remove and use an algorithm to replace the pixel data. Content aware can be used with the spot healing brush tool, but it can be used with content aware fill. And the content aware option is available on a number of retouching tools. It can be applied by ticking the checkbox at the top of the screen. Okay, so let's take a look at these different images here. I'm going to download all 4 here. And I would recommend just downloading all 4 just to see kind of what you have, you know, different examples here. Whoops. Let's see, that was what? That was number 4. Let's do 1. Okay. That was 2. Let's do 3. Three. No, let's do 2. Okay, so here are the 4. Oh, we have a duplicate of this. We got her. Cat. Okay, there must be one more that we're leaving out here. That one. Got that one. Okay, here we go. Found it. Okay, so here are the 4 that you have to choose from. Here's 1. Let me get the other ones up here. There's 2, although not in order. 3, and like I said, not in order. And 4. Okay, so those are the ones that you have to choose from. 2 out of the 4. I'm going to go ahead and open up Photoshop. Share my desktop. This is a 2018, by the way. I'm going to go File, Open, and I'm going to choose one of these 4 images here. So I'm just going to save these to my desktop. Okay. All right. So I'm going to go File, Open, and I'm going to open up this one. I think this is a good one to start with because it's so complicated. Okay, you may hear my furnace coming on here. All right. It is a cold day in Pittsburgh. You hear a weird blowing noise. That's my furnace. I'm right next to it. All right, so what you're going to do is you're going to unlock the layer. So you're just going to double click on the layer. You can name this, you know, original or whatever background. You can still keep it the same. But basically, you're not going to touch this layer. This is going to be your original layer. What you're going to do is you're going to build upon this with other layers so that you're not taking away from the original layer. And we can always go back to the original layer just to see where we're at. Okay, so the first thing that I would say is it's always good to kind of get rid of and I'm going to zoom in here. It's always good to zoom in real tight. Go ahead and use the magnifying glass or do the Command plus sign. And then a little trick is if you put the space bar down, you'll be able to click and drag around and navigate around your canvas very easily. So go ahead and zoom in. I think that's the key to really getting in there and getting the details taken care of. You can see all these little weird blips that aren't supposed to be there. I don't know if it's water or if that, I'm not sure what that is. We're gonna take care of all the little imperfections in the photograph before we do any color changes, okay? Oops, let me see here. So what we're gonna do is we're going to duplicate this layer. We're gonna hide this layer and just kind of keep that for ourselves here. Okay, then we're going to go into our tools. Remember, our clone stamp tool is the letter S. You go right to it. Clone stamp tool is great because you're able to grab any pixel information around it and apply it over top. So right now you can see I have a big circle. If I want to adjust that, I just hit the left and right indents on my keyboard. Or when you see, when I'm going up and down, you'll see up here in the presets, this is going up and down. You can just, you know, if you want to, just kind of play around here. But you want a fuzzy edge, just is easier to not be able to see like a fine line around your changes. Okay, so I would get it, if you're gonna clean up anything that's similar to the size, I would get the brush size to be very similar to that size of imperfection. Hold down the Alt Option key before you click anywhere. And I would click around any pixels that look similar to where this is, you know, it's gonna carry over well. So probably right over here, I'm gonna hold, I have my circle pick up the pixel information. So I'm gonna hold down the Alt Option and click right on top of that. And I'm just gonna move without even doing anything. I'm just gonna move this over and I can see I'm carrying that information over and I can click right over top, do it again, Alt, click, and it's gonna carry over that information, the pixel information, and just drag and drop it. You have to be very close. So because there's, you know, sometimes when you have detailed lines in there, you don't want it to look weird. So I would go down further if I'm, you know, marking up this part. I want it to be blending in very well with what's next to it. So the key to this is you shouldn't be able to tell that there's anything done. You want to make sure it's nicely blended in there and that you can't tell that correction was done. Okay, so that's one way of doing it. Another way of doing it is the magnetic, I'm sorry, the spot healing brush tool. Make this smaller as well. If I just click right over top of this element, it's gonna, you know, spot heal it. And I'm just clicking one time. I'm not holding any other keys down. And this works really great when you have something that's not right on a line of something very contrasted. Maybe it's, you know, just in this spot here, and you're just kind of clicking in there to blend that in. So the spot healing brush tool is great in certain instances. Sometimes it's not so great if you're dealing with a lot of contrasted edges. I'm just clicking around here. So it's just grabbing that pixel information and fixing it. Oops. Adjusting it, I should say. And you can go ahead and get rid of all these weird, you know, white things that kind of maybe distract the eye. Make the brush a little bigger. Okay, so this is an instance where it's getting a little, let's see here. You know, if you, actually, it's not too bad. It's pretty good. Oops. I'm just kind of spot healing. You can go in here and take care of all the little white dots. And I would go in and just really see what looks weird that you could kind of fix up. And I'm probably not going to get everything here, but you guys should. So just kind of zoom in, use that space bar to get in there, and see what you can do. I mean, even here, it's definitely able to get rid of that stuff. All right. We have more stuff going on here. Okay, so so that is the spot healing brush tool. There's the healing brush tool as well. Oops. This kind of works in the same way, only you have to drag the select Alt Option select and then go over it. Just kind of like the other tool that I was just showing you, the stamp tool. Okay. There's the patch tool, and I'm going to show you how to use that. The patch tool is kind of neat. I would use it probably up here where this big piece of paper stuck up here. So the patch tool is pretty neat. So all you have to do is take a line and select it. So right now it's almost like a pen tool or pencil tool. And you're just going to kind of outline what you want to change and then go right back. So it has a selection. And then as you're in there, click and drag over left or right, depending on what you want it to show through here. Oops. And what it's doing, and I can see, is it's pulling the information from the side into the left here. So I can get this as matched up as I can to make it look somewhat normal. It's really up to what the details look like. In here, I can go in and kind of play around with that a little bit more. Let's see here. That looks good. Now look. And then you just deselect. And then what I would do is probably just go in there with my spot healing brush tool and kind of fix that up. Hold on, you guys. Let me get this this off here. So see all these edges here? I'm just going to kind of paint over them. So that it looks a little bit more normal and bleeds into what I'm doing here. Sometimes you have to use other tools. But I think this looks pretty good. So that's the clone stamp tool. I would do that for bigger, bigger items rather than smaller ones, just because it can get kind of tricky to use. And you could kind of make it look a little worse than it should be. All right. Okay, so here's an instance where the spot healing brush tool is not going to help, and it's right by her face. I'm going to go back. I'm going to step back in my history here. That kind of became like a blob. So I might want to do content aware again, and I'm just going to go over this part real quick. I'm just going to bring the facial area over here a little bit, and then let go. And it looks pretty good. All right, I'm just going to get rid of some stuff in here, but I think pretty much we got it. We got it. It's just, a lot of little details that I didn't get because, I don't want to drag this out into a crazy 5-hour session of lecture here, just, looking at what I'm doing. So you hopefully get what I'm showing you here. All right, so that is basically what you're going to be doing. That is all your spot healing. Oh. I'm sorry, your brushes that you need to learn. I'm going to go ahead and save this, DES104, assignment 2. And I think this is 1A. I'll have to go back and see. Photoshop. Okay, so now if I were to hide my original on the top, I can see the before and after. Big difference there. Before, after. Okay. So the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to go up to, I'm going to adjust the color. after I do all the other adjustments. So I'm going to go up to image. I'm sorry, let's see here. Layer, new adjustment layer. And I'm going to go to levels. And levels is great because you can grab information out of the image, such as what are the brightest brights, what are the lowest lows in the image itself. So the property manager box will pop up when you click on the new adjustment layer for levels. So what you're going to do is you're going to go ahead and select the dark eyedropper, and you're going to hold down, let's see here, the Alt Option key, and it's going to tell you all the places that are the darkest. So when you hold down that Alt Option key, it's showing you the darkest of the darks in here by showing you the darker pixels. So what you're going to do is you're going to pick that one pixel and click on it. And see how that adjusted it? Just doing that. So I'm going to do it before and after. It's adjusting the darker tones. I'm going to go to the highlight. I'm going to do the same thing. Hold down Alt Option with the highlight selected. And I'm going to look and see what are the brightest spots in here. And brightest spots is like, see this yellow way up here? That's where I want to choose. That's showing me, okay, this is a really bright spot. This is where you want to pick that white from. Okay. So it's kind of a weird way to do it. Not a weird way to do it, but like it does get a little, it's kind of hard to understand, but once you do it, you'll see what I mean. But see how the difference is before and after. You can go back up to layer adjustments and choose the levels. It's kind of like the same thing, only it's a little basic, a little bit more basic. So the levels, let's see here. My levels box, let me delete these real quick. New adjustment layer, levels. Okay, so basically the levels, oh, I already showed you the levels. Why am I showing you the levels again? Sorry, guys. Brightness and contrast, that's what I wanted to do. I wouldn't really worry about this if you are going through the levels. That's pretty much taken care of, but it's the same thing where you can adjust the mid, upper, and lower, you know, highlights, neutral color, and then also the darker color hue. But I would stick with the levels. I think that's a little bit of a better way to do it. Curves, same thing. Just these all four kind of had the same approach in terms of taking the brights, either, you know, adjusting the brightest part of your image to the darkest part, and also neutrals. You can, you know, give a different vibrance to it, hue, saturation, color balance. You know, say this image, and this is a good way to sample this. See where the white is here? So what you want to do is you want to pick like a white or a neutral spot of your image. Go ahead and take the eyedropper tool and sample. I'm going to do the sky here. Just go ahead and click on it and sample it. Now look in your color picker, and this is the color that it's showing me. So right now it looks like there's a lot of blue and purple in there. So the blue part, you know, I might want to pull out. And how I would do that is I would go to layer, new layer adjustment, and then color balance. Click OK. Property box will come up, and it's telling me, okay, I can adjust my tone of my midtones, the shadows, or highlights, depending on what I choose. I'm going to just choose midtones for now, and I'm going to pull out blue. So I'm going to put more yellow in to take more blue out. Same thing up here, a little bit more red in, but that kind of doesn't look too good, so I'm going to pull a little bit to the left. Highlights, that's where you want to change it because that's where I pulled it from. So if you want to go more in the yellows and more in the reds with that, that probably will look a lot better. Same thing with, you know, the skin tone, or say the dogs or the grass needs to be a little bit more green. You can kind of adjust that just by pulling them, you know, if you want it more green, go more green. You can go pretty extreme. Just kind of slide these, kind of experiment. slide them around, see what looks good. I know sometimes it's hard to see on your computer. But then you can go up here and just hide the eyeball so you can see the changes before and after. So see how much more vibrant this is. It's taking out all the blue colors. It looks pretty good. I did notice some other things in there. And then you'll see the adjustment layers are here. So if you were to just delete these, you're not doing anything to the image. The image is fine. You have the originals. If you wanted to change the presets to each one of these, just double click on it and it's going to bring up a properties box that you can kind of play around with. All right, so when it's all said and done, you're going to go File, Save, and then you're going to save as a JPEG. The next image that I was going to show you guys, but you get the gist of that one. I'm going to do this one a little bit quicker. But that's pretty much how designers go about, basic photo restoration. Now there's always a lot of other options too, just to kind of do little tricks. But we want to start with the basics. We don't want to overwhelm you guys either. So I'm trying to open this guy here. I guess this isn't very weird. I don't know why this is not. Hold on, guys, 1 second. Did I hit something like tab? My viewing screen, standard screen. I just like lost everything. I don't know if this picture is just weird. All right, let me open up. Very weird. So anyway, that's pretty much the gist of that. And let me, I don't know why I can't open this one. I'm trying to open that guy picture and it's not letting me. Let me try it one more time. Picture of the guy just sitting there. Yeah, for some reason I can't see him out here. Yeah, it's weird. All right, I'm not gonna mess with that. But that's pretty much what you would do in each of these cases. You're gonna do 2 of them, 2 out of the 4, and you can choose from that. Don't forget to save it as a 2A. That's, I think I put 1A for the before and then a 2B for the after. And then don't forget to save it as a JPEG when you're done. All right, so let me know if you have any questions. I think that all of you really enjoy this. I think it's a fun thing to get into in terms of all the details. So, it's just like one of those things where you get zoned in. You'll turn on your music and start honing in on all the little details there. Okay, let me pull my slides up here. And I'm going to take a 5-minute break and we'll go right into assessment 2. So I'll be right back. Okay, so let's get into assessment 2. Let's go ahead and take a look at the assessment 2 details here in Canvas. This too is I think, a very interesting and fun assessment as well. I think you guys will enjoy this. And basically what we're going to be doing is the black and white pop effect here, which I'm going to read through this. Photoshop's adjustment layers are used by designers not only in photographs, but in illustrations, composites, and even videos and animated GIFs. Knowing and using these tools improves your marketability as an employer and enhances your portfolio. So basically, the color pop effect is a popular Photoshop technique that allows designers to colorize one part of the image while leaving the rest of the image in grayscale. The 2005 film Sin City used this effect very dramatically. While most of the film is in black and white, there are splashes of red that appear within the frame. A red car, a red dress, blood splatters, etc. To create this effect, we're going to utilize some of the adjustment layers found at the bottom of the layers palette in conjunction with the layer mask. Let's take a look at some adjustment layers. So you have the black and white. A black and white adjustment layer transforms an image into grayscale, while allowing designers to manipulate the individual channels. You have hue saturation. You can go ahead and read through these. Solid color, photo filter, and gradient. Go ahead and read through those. The prompt for this assessment, you'll desaturate the provided image using the black and white adjustment layer, and then make a selection of one part of the image and colorize it using the color blending mode. You will finish the photo by adding a vignette with the gradient adjustment layer along with a subtle photo filter. So download this image, looks like this. Go ahead and click on that. Apply the black and white adjustment layer to the image. Sorry about that. Just kind of a little call there. Apply the black and white adjustment layer. I just said that. Properly select the headscarf using the selection techniques you learned in week 1. Colorize the headscarf using the solid color on the color blending mode. Make a black and white vignette using the gradient adjustment layer and set the gradient to the multiply blending mode. Apply the photo filter adjustment layer and select the filter of your choice. So lots of information here, but I'm going to help you out here going forward in this demo. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. I downloaded, actually I'll download it now and just click on this. Go ahead and open this. And then just save it as a JPEG on your desktop. And then go ahead and open up Photoshop. So file open. There she is. Let's see, all of my, I must have something not viewing here correctly. Oh, there we go. All right. Okay. So the first part of this is apply the black and white adjustment layer to the image. So I'll show you how to do that. Go ahead and unlock this layer. Just double click on it. You're going to create an adjustment layer on this layer. So go up to Layer, New Adjustment Layer, and you're going to choose, oh, I'm sorry, Image Adjustments, and you're going to choose black and white. So Image Adjustments, black and white. Okay, so what it's going to do is it's going to make this adjustment layer black and white. When you click OK, actually, let me unstep this here real quick. Okay. Yes, black and white. So that's exactly what you should do. All right, so now that that's the first step, you're going to properly select the headscarf using the selection techniques you learned in week 1. So remember those selection techniques where we were playing around with the lasso tool or the polygonal lasso tool or the magnetic lasso tool? Maybe even the quick selection tool. Maybe that's something you want to kind of play around with. So, choose what you think is best. I'm actually going to go with the magnetic lasso tool or the regular lasso tool. I'm going to do the magnetic. I think that's probably my choice for this in particular, because I think it will, except for the top part, it will trace out pretty well here. So I'm going to start here where the headline is, and I'm just going to click right on there. Oops. Of course I say that and then it doesn't. And I'm just going to let this kind of guide and just click where I think it needs to reattach itself to a specific edge, but just kind of follow my line all the way up here. Hit delete if your vectors aren't going where you want them to do, and then just go ahead and click on them. So you can see this edge is being used. You don't have to use this tool for this. You can use the pen tool. You just have to create a path for it. You can use the other selection tools if that works better. Right here is where it gets tricky. I'm going to show you how to fix that because it's not a perfect straight line. Oops, delete back here. So I'm just kind of following along here, and I can always fix this if it doesn't go straight to the edge like I planned. It's kind of messy. I can fix this, and I'll show you how. Just get all of that in there. Oops. And then back to the original. Now, how do I look at this to see if I did a good job or not? Because I could see, I have some mishaps here. If you go down to the bottom of your toolbar, it's right underneath your fill, your set background and foreground, there's a little mask, edit in quick mask mode. If you turn that on, everything that is selected, you're going to see it kind of looks normal, and everything that's not is in red. So you can go ahead and take your paintbrush tool at this point, oops, undo, and make sure, just flip these around so the white is the foreground. Pick up the opacity so you can see it. And you're just going to kind of go over, whoops, maybe make it a little harder in terms of, whoops. It's not as fuzzy. And you're going to go ahead and just select, almost like you're painting over what should be included in there. And you can zoom in on this. I'm kind of not zoomed in, so it'd be easier if I was zoomed in. But I'm just kind of painting over it so that it becomes selected. So when I hit this mask again, you'll see that it actually selected that part. So that's how you can clean that up. And that's it. Any selection tool that you choose, you can click that edit mask tool and do the same thing. So that's kind of nice, so that you can quickly select it. If you don't get it perfect, you can always go back and fix it or adjust it, make it look better, tighter, more detail. You can make the brush smaller or bigger depending on the area that you're in. You can do reverse, so just flip these two around if you kind of went outside of the line. So the foreground and the background of the colors that you have in there is very important, and how you're kind of painting over. See all this stuff I missed up here? So I'm just going to paint over that. So that looks pretty good for the most part. Okay. Put it on the screen. So everything there is selected. I'm going to hit the mask again. You can see that's my selection. You could do a new layer at this point. If you wanted to duplicate this so that you kind of restore the bottom part, you can. But now at this point, what you're going to do is you're going to create a new layer above the image. a completely new layer. So go ahead and hit new layer, little icon of there. You're going to choose color in color mode. So right where this little drop down menu is, you're going to choose color. Okay. And then you're going to choose a paintbrush and color in whatever you have want your scarf to be. Go ahead and click in your color fill and choose a color that you want that scarf to be. I'm going to choose like a teal color. And it doesn't matter if your brush is, it's going to stay in there as long as you have the selection selected in there, or selection showing. You can paint and not go outside of this line. Pretty cool. So you're going to paint over the selected area, and there you go. And you can always kind of get rid of this if you don't like the color or change the color. Completely up to you. So that's how you would do that. And the next thing that you need to do is make a black and white vignette using the gradient adjustment layer and set the gradient to multiply blending mode. Okay, so let's deselect this. All right, so there's different ways to do gradients. There is a gradient. Let's see, let me actually trash this, what I just did here. And go to this layer here. There is a layer adjustment gradient overlay, layer style gradient overlay that you can choose. And, I would choose something like where the black and the transparent are being shown here. And then what you can do is you can play around with how this appears. Like you could have it radial instead of linear, and you can flip this around so that now the black is on the outside and the vignette is on, black is on the outside and the clear is on the inside. Click OK. You can even, and I think what it said in the instruction was choose the multiply blending mode. So multiply here, multiply would be what you would want. You can dial down the opacity if it's too much. So you just want, I don't know, maybe 70%. And see what it looks like before and after. It looks good. Now, this effect is in here. You can always change it. You can always delete it. You can always, hide it. That's the nice thing about that. So I'll show you in a second here. Okay, so you can hide this effect. If you wanted to work on it again, just click on the FX. It opens it back up, and you can go ahead and choose gradient overlay and play around with your presets. But that's basically all you need to do for that. Let me save this while I didn't save this. So assessment 2. Keep the layers checked. You want that to be saved. Okay, so that is the fourth bullet down. So we made the vignette. Then now we're going to apply the photo filter adjustment layer and select a filter of your choice. So now we're going to go up to layer. I'm sorry, image adjustments. No, layer adjustment, new adjustment layer, excuse me. And we're going to go to photo filter. Click OK. The preset should come up, or the properties box. So you have all different kinds of filters that are already in here that you can choose from. You can set your own color filter, if you want to pick and choose one that you like. So it's completely up to you on what you want to do. Okay, so we're going to say, well, maybe we can do a warming filter. And the more dense that it is, the more you'll see kind of popping through. So sometimes it's nice to have a very subtle color popping through. Sometimes it's very, it's nice to see the two contrast with it a little bit more. Maybe like right there is nice. So you can go through the filters here just to see what they look like. Let's do cooling to see the opposite effect. Magenta. So you can go through all these as well. These are just presets. But I kind of like that one, so I'm going to keep it that way. But yeah, just go through what you think looks right with your image. And that's how you would do that. So it's pretty easy. Okay, and then that's pretty much the photo filter here. You can hide it. If you want to delete it, you can. But that's pretty much all that you need to do. Click File, Save. Let me see how you save this one. Okay, so it's asking you to save it as a PSD file and then do a file save as and choose a JPEG, 100% quality, and submit the JPEG for grading. Do not flatten your files. So you'll go File, so when you're done, you'll go File, Save As, and then a JPEG. And that's what you'll submit. Okay, well, hopefully that's easy. It seems like it's, you know, it's a little complicated when you get into certain steps, but if you rewind and listen to the demo that I did, I think you guys will be okay. If not, I will be here tomorrow for the multi-session, and ignore that time because that's not right. Let me go back. I think the multi-session I announced would be in the morning. Let me go double check this before because I might have to change that. I apologize. Yeah, I changed it to 10. So what we're going to do is we're going to change this, and I'm going to do it right here while we're in here so you guys can see what I'm doing. I apologize. I cannot do the mornings tomorrow for the multi-session, but I can do it tomorrow evening. I'm going to say let's do actually, you know what? Let's do 6. I might have my daughter around, but you know, it might not be as bad with just being an open session as far as the multi-session goes. So I will be logged in. If you guys need extra help, I'll be there. I'm changing this for tomorrow. So if you're Eastern time, it'll start at 6, so 6 to 8. Central 5, 4, Pacific is 3. Let me save that so you guys can see that schedule change. I apologize for that too. I, for some reason, had such a crazy week of things shifting around. So hopefully that won't happen next week, but that's kind of where we're at. All right. And I think, actually, let me go back. There are examples. Let me go back to this examples in here. If you're wondering what other people have done, there's examples in the assignment assessment 2 as well, I believe. Let me see. Yeah, right here. Sample 1 and sample 2. So I'm going to click on those. There's also samples, I believe, in the assignment 2 as well, so you can see what other students have done. So let me share those with you guys. So this is one example that looks really good, although the vignette's very dark. They could probably scale that back. And then here's the other student submission. Okay. Okay, so that's pretty much it. I'm going to wrap it up. We don't really have too much more to go over. I'm going to post this as soon as possible, but hopefully you guys can get the gist of the assignments this week and have fun with them. You know, really explore your options, have fun with with all that there is to offer in Photoshop, like all the tools in there. Just kind of experiment, put on some music, like I said, enjoy, and get into that. Get lost into your work. It's always fun. So, all right, let me know if you have any questions, and I'll be seeing you guys on the boards.